Hi everybody, thanks for stopping by. My name is DJ Quanabens. Thank you for checking out my YouTube channel. If you haven't already done so, please subscribe to the channel and stay connected. There are a number of videos I've already uploaded, so if you can check them out and let me know some of your thoughts and any questions you might have, we could move forward with having conversation with those at a later date. Today, I want to be able to have a continuation conversation from the very first video I created, which was about gay pride, two-spirited versus people of the purple light. But I want to take a little different spin to it in the sense that I want to be able to share a personal story with me, my coming out. Yes, we all have one of these stories, those who fall under the LGBTQ plus community, and there's always something to be learned, and there is always value in everyone's story. You see, we are the masters of our own storytelling. And so I will share a little bit about my experience of coming out and hoping that any of the viewers who may be struggling with identity, may be struggling with perhaps considering coming out, that hopefully that some of the information and the story that I'm about to share will inspire you to be true to yourself and to honor your true essence of who you are. All right? So back in 2003, I decided to pack up my stuff and move to Toronto. But before I decided to do that, I lived in Thunder Bay and worked in the Thunder Bay area for a number of years. And I was not out as a gay male. And given Thunder Bay is the city that it is, in the sense that it is a very challenging, difficult city if you are an Indigenous woman, an Indigenous man, a trans individual, or someone who falls under the LGBTQ plus community. It is a very difficult community to engage in the sense that it is a city that is quite challenging. It has a number of issues that needs to be worked through. So I never came out in Thunder Bay. And a lot of that had to do with the fact that I was quite scared. I was quite driven by fear. And it's taken a long time to get from where I was to where I am now. I've achieved a degree of understanding and self-love for myself. I also carry this idea, this mentality that I really don't give two cares of what anybody thinks of me anymore. And I never used to have that type of mentality because I always used to worry about what people would think of me, how people would perceive me, how people how they would interact with me. I would always be concerned about trying to please people while I, myself, was dying inside. I say dying inside because I wasn't being truthful and honoring my true self. And so I lived a life as a straight man to accommodate and to satisfy people's perceptions of me. You know, when I decided to leave Thunder Bay, there were other reasons why I decided to leave for Toronto, but one of the main underlying reasons was learning to rediscover who I am and embracing my true self. So if anybody here who is watching this video is considering coming out or has anxieties and fears of trying to figure out that process of coming out, I get it. I get how difficult and challenging and scary that thought process is. I recall a time where I lived two lives. The life of a straight man that people knew of me, and a life of living my life as a gay man in such discreet ways that was so exhausting. Trying to live two worlds in oneself was so exhausting. And at one point, my stories started to not, they just never really connected because there was discrepancies in my stories. And I realized this is just so tiring, just to put on good face and satisfy those who had expectations of me as a straight man. So I moved to Toronto. And moving to Toronto was both a exciting journey, but a scary journey. And like a kid in a candy store, fresh from the bush, fresh from up north, going to the city, you discover that there is a whole different community, a whole different gay community that exists in Toronto. And there are many different gay communities around Canada and the United States. But I chose Toronto. And when I was in Toronto, I didn't get the welcoming party as I thought I would. I didn't even know what I thought. But when I came to Toronto, I quickly realized that this notion of community within the gay community was very different than what I thought it would be. And I remember a number of guys telling me, again, thinking that I was going to be embraced and welcomed in so easily, a number of guys were telling me that you're not really gay. And I'm like, what? And they would go on to say, well, you're not really gay because you're what we call a breeder. I don't know exactly what that meant, but it sounded very negative. And they went on to explain how, well, you have a child, so therefore you're a breeder, so you're not really gay. You belong over there and not belong over here with us. And I thought that was the most disempowering experience when it came to what I thought was a time and a place where I would be embraced. And I struggled with that for quite some time, actually. And when I was in Toronto, I lived in Toronto. I never associated with the after-hour scene. I never associated with the drug scene, the drinking scene. It never really sat well with me. That's not how I was raised. That's not the experience that I was wanting to have. And also the fact that I had a child. I had a child that was given to me by the Creator to protect and to care for and to nurture. And so that was my priority. So when I speak about identity, being a gay man is just one layer of that. There's so many layers to me. But I found that one comment of saying that you're a breeder and you're not really gay really affected me. It actually turned me off from the gay community. Now I've been here for a number of years. People know me, and I'm accepted. I have my sense of community here, but it's taken me a while to get to that part where I am like, it's taken work. And I remember a time when I was filing for full custody. I was not out, but for some reason my lawyer at the time thought I was out and had made disclosure in the deposition papers that were being shipped out to the sheriff's office to be delivered to my daughter's mother that indicated that I was gay. That was my coming out. That sense of disempowerment, that feeling of, what the heck did you just do? Not having the choice to come out on my terms, coming out in court. And then I could hear all these comments and these conversations I was having with, individuals that I won't mention, but they were like, yes, I knew you were gay, and now we have proof, and now we're going to tell everybody. And now keep in mind, I was not out to my family, and these individuals were determined to have conversations with my family, and fear once again settled in. And it forced me to have conversations with my loved ones, my mom, my nieces, my sister, my cousins, and I wouldn't change it for anything, because everything, I honestly believe, has occurred the way it was always intended. I can choose to dissect it and tear it up and be upset and be bogged down by what I didn't have control of. But the way that it unfolded, yeah, it was kind of harsh. Yeah, it was scary. But here's the thing. Everybody in my circle of friends already knew. And when I disclosed this to my mom, my mother said to me, and I recall this, it was at Eagle Lake First Nation powwow, and we're out by the lake, and the sun was going down. It was quite a moment, and we had a conversation, and she said, I always knew. I was just waiting for you to have enough respect to have conversation or to tell me yourself. And then the ability to just let go was so powerful. And I could only hope and wish that anybody who is experiencing the fear of coming out will experience an embracing moment by your loved ones. However, I do know that some of our family members are not so embracing. And it's going to take some time for you to discover yourself and to reclaim your natural essence of who you are, to have enough confidence to walk your journey on the red road while honoring your true self. It's going to take time. And there'll be people along the way that won't like it. There'll be people who will be resisting it, but then there'll always be the people that will always be there to support you. And to know that you have a place in our community. You have a place in our ceremonial circles. You have a place in society. You have to determine the people that you are going to associate with who are going to embrace you. You're not going to associate with people who are going to tear you down each and every time because of who you are. You're going to surround yourself with like-minded, positive, amazing people who will help lift you. And that becomes the journey. You see, I'm now 48 years old, and I've gotten thick skin along the way. I've been burnt so many times, but guess what? My story is my story. I own it. And now I'm the navigator of my story moving forward. And I can only hope that if there are any individuals out there that are struggling with identity and struggling with coming out, to know that there are resources for you to have conversations. And I always make reference to speaking to the people in your communities who are actually there to help support one another. There are people there, our elders, who can be there to help support you. You just have to find these people. And those who are not supportive, don't bog down your energy with that. Move on to the next person who can help and walk with you during your journey to help discover who you are and where you sit in our lodges, in our ceremonies, and in our communities, and in our homes, and in our society. You have a place. And to understand that. So I want to be able to invite you to share some of your experiences or share some of your thoughts or comments regarding coming out. I'm going to continue a part 3 of this conversation, because I want to give a little bit context into what my experience was within ceremonial circles once everybody knew that I was gay. And you'd be very interested to know that half were very much accepting and half not so much. And that's okay. Because at the end of the day, all you have to be true to is yourself and be accountable to your creator. So miigwech, and hopefully we'll talk soon, and stay tuned for part 3. Miigwech.